Hey y'all, we are back with another Mighty Multimedia Topics this time. It's been a little bit since we've done a Topics, but we're back into it. And today we are talking about the best movie speeches of all time. To preface this at the beginning, I think that there is a difference between a movie speech and a movie monologue. There's a lot of different monologues throughout all types of different genres, and there's a lot of great ones as well. But that's not what we're going to talk about. We're specifically talking about speeches, right? Where it doesn't necessarily have to be motivational, but usually it is. Somewhere where someone's getting up in front of a bunch of people right before a big event, and laying out what's going on. In many ways, it's motivational. I don't want to call it motivational speeches, but for the most part, it is, right? Before a game, before a battle, before a big event, something like that. That's what we are talking about today. Okay, we're doing 10 of them. We're doing a ranking. I will say that the first few are sort of honorable mentions, but some of it was rounding out till 10, but some of them I wanted to get on here. But again, they're not fantastic or they're not big, whatever. We'll get into them. The first one we're doing, starting from the bottom, is number 10, is from Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End. So this is specifically Keira Knightley's motivational speech. This is right on the eve of battle with the British and the Redcoats, all of their gigantic army that very well outnumbers their number of ships, as well as the Flying Dutchman that they have on the other side, right? So Keira Knightley has become the Lord of the Pirates, and she gives this very small little speech, but I think it rouses everyone enough, and it's memorable enough. It is a little awkwardly worded, I would say, and she gives a little odd delivery, I would say. So that's why it's down here at the bottom, but still a good one. At number 9, we have a speech from the movie Troy, which is a huge endeavor in itself, which is pretty cool. A lot of amazing actors, and what a just gigantic filming and gigantic endeavor to do. I really enjoy it. I think it doesn't get its due as much as it does. But the speech that we are talking about is on the eve of battle, right before the Trojans are going to finally land on the beaches of Troy and start their initial invasion, right? So this is from Brad Pitt. He is playing the famous hero Achilles, and he's just hyping up his myrmidon, as they call them, all his warriors. So again, an honorable mention, because this is basically a one-liner. I think maybe there's 3-4 lines, just saying you guys are the best, you're unbeatable. I think it's out there's immortality, take it, it's yours. Yeah, it's a good one. It's small, it's easy. And why it's a little better than the last one from Pirates of the Caribbean, I think it's a little little better written. And I think it's even a little shorter, but that's to its benefit rather than its detriment. It's more cleaned up, and then I think the delivery is better as well here. Brad Pitt is just... It does it in a really tough manner, and you can believe that you're pretty hyped up. Even though it's short and sweet, you are hyped up to go into battle here. So that is why it is at number 9. At number 8, we have a speech from the movie The Replacements. Right, so we're getting into sports here. We're going to see some more sports as we go along. This is definitely another honorable mention. I promise that eventually we're going to get to some actual entries. But again, you got to round it out to the number 10. 10 is a good number. But this is right on, not on the eve, it's on the right before they run a play. So they're already in a game, and it's one of the last plays. Shane takes his helmet off. I wouldn't take a helmet off in the middle of a professional football game, but do whatever. And you actually can't. You get fined nowadays. But he takes his helmet off, Shane Falco, and he just says some kind of stupid lines, right? It's like, scars are forever, chicks dig scars, glory lasts forever, blah, blah, blah. Very short and sweet as well, but I just appreciate it. Some of this is for the meme, some of it because it's Keanu Reeves. Who doesn't love Keanu Reeves? And this is the bottom tier of that motivational speeches coming from the sports realm. It's short, it's funny, but it's good. Okay, I'm going to say this is the last of the real honorable mentions here. So for number 6, we have a speech from the movie Pacific Rim. A lot of people probably didn't expect to see this movie popping up on this list. But if you know the speech that I'm talking about, you might, right? So again, on the eve of battle, they're about to use the giant robots. Damn, I don't remember what they're called. It's a pretty forgettable movie for the most part. And to go fight the giant kaiju monsters. I think they have a name as well. I don't think it's kaijus. But it's the big kind of fight, big bad fight at the end. They're coming to the rift. There's too many of them. They got to go in, close the rift, stop the danger. And a lot of this is the setting and the delivery. It is a good delivery as well here. It's Idris Elba. Idris Elba is the big commander of this whole unit here. It's pretty post-apocalyptic, to be honest. They're in a bunker. They're kind of humanity's last hope. There's people walking around, I think, on the planet, but it's not looking great. These monsters have really caused a lot of problems, and he's in his battle suit, so that's another one. He's going into battle with these guys, and it's just his. Today we're canceling the apocalypse, and there's more to that. It's pretty short. But I think the important part here is it just gets the job done perfectly. It didn't need anything more because it's this schlocky action movie, right? I mean, there's been others after this, sequels, and they've been terrible. But I mean, this one was fun. It was okay, but it's still a schlocky action movie. So that's all you need. Sometimes you got to know your audience, know what the moment calls for. Idris Elba gave a great stern performance, roused everyone up. It helped that he was the one going into battle. And yeah, you're at the eve of human extinction, so everything was perfectly calculated, well written, well delivered. So at number 6 here, I'm going to do my best to cover it up here a little bit because the disc that's packaged in this will give it away, although I think a lot of people will know what this other one is, but it'll show up. So either way, at number 6, we're doing Gladiator here. Only looking here. Don't look at the other side. But again, I think people might know what the other one is, and just by context, what would be paired with Gladiator. But this speech is a little different because it's not on the eve of something that's going to happen or whatever. It's kind of a victory speech, moreover, which is pretty cool. A little different, I guess, right? And it's when our hero, Russell Crowe, Maximus, is in the arena. He kind of reveals himself. He says his name and everything, and because he was supposed to be dead, his brother took the throne when he killed his father, Marcus Aurelius, the emperor, and he's the emperor right now. Joaquin Phoenix, I think it's Claudius. I could be wrong about that, and I think it is though. And he's just kind of explaining everything that's going on, but it's triumphant. It's saying what he's done, saying where he is, saying what he's gonna do. It's more like declaratory and command than anything else. But the reason why it's a little lower at the bottom here is just because it's slow and, at least for me, a little bit less memorable. I know it's good, but I honestly can't think of too many of the lines. I'm not the biggest fan of Gladiator as the movie itself, so there is that to put an asterisk on there. But yeah, it's just a little slow, and the moment, the setting, as I've talked about here, is just not quite as good as some of these other ones, I would say. At number 5, we are getting back into the world of sports. So this is a speech from the movie Remember the Titans. I've talked about Remember the Titans already on this channel in a different context, being one of the best sports movies, football movies of all time. And I will say that this speech has a special place in my heart. So again, this one might be a little biased thrown up here, but I just think it's so amazing. So this one it's not on the eve of something, but it's right in the middle of what's going on, similar to what we were talking about with the replacements. But again, everything is good about this, I think, personally. The delivery, the setting, how it's set up and everything like that, and a lot of just the writing in general. So the setup is that we have because it's all about race, right? We talked about that, and there's a black head coach now who displaced a white head coach, but is still on the staff, and some other people in the town who did some shenanigans and bought off the ref, so that the black head coach would get fired, and the white head coach, the black head coach being Denzel Washington, of course, and the white head coach could get back into it and get in the Hall of Fame, win his record, whatever, blah blah blah. And this is the head coach just watching all of this stuff happen, and the refs be really bad against his all his players or whatever, and he just finally snaps. First he goes up to the ref and talks everything, and then you're like, he's really turning this on, and then he goes into his players. One of them like gives him a lip, so he throws him out, and he talks to the other people, and then he gives these commands, exactly what we're gonna do, and then this, you make sure they remember forever the night they played the Titans. I just think it's fantastic. I think it's really well done in all facets. The one thing why it's a little lower here is the stakes, I would say. The stakes are relatively low than a lot of these other ones. It's a sports movie, so obviously that's going to have less stakes than something like a war movie. But it's not even it's not even the finale of the movie. They still have like a Super Bowl. This is like a playoff game kind of, and it's in the middle of it. It's high school football. There's a lot going on with race and everything, but it's not like they have to win and everything like that. So for all those reasons, while it's really good, it is down here. At number 4, this is a big one. This I love. At number 4, we have the speech from Independence Day. And I'm not gonna lie, some of the stuff that we've talked about, setting and writing, in length and everything, does not bode well in favor of this speech, I would say. But really, it's the setup. It's the moment that's in this. It's also a lot earlier than some of these movies, so I think that's kind of impressive. Not crazy early, it's in like the early mid-90s, right? But it's just the moment. So it's the president talking to the entire world, right? Bill Pullman. And they've just, the whole movie, they've gotten their ass kicked, the whole world, by these aliens coming in. They have the shields that they've just been able to do absolutely nothing with. These aliens have come in and destroyed countless cities, all of the biggest ones, population centers around the globe, in every country, killed countless of people, millions of people. So many have lost loved ones, homes, possessions, everything. It's looking really, really bad. And this is the turnaround, right? They have one last gamble, and this is everything. And similar to Pacific Rim, as we were talking about, the president is going up into the planes with them, right? He's got his flight suit on because he used to be a pilot, so he's going with them, which I think makes it even better in the battle. The leaders always got to go in, except it's a bad idea because you don't bring your leader into the battle, because if he dies, then you're in shambles. So strategically not a good idea, but it's the gamble, right? This is the last stand, so this is why the president is actually going into battle here, and they were able to talking to so many different people from all different cultures, and they're also talking to people all over the world. This is the final stand. This is the one. This is for all the marbles. The president stands up with the bullhorn on the truck, just majestic and dark, and it's just the moment for this one for me. All right, at number 3, we are, for the last time, returning to the world of sports, but this one is just different. I love Remember the Titans so much, but this is just a different category altogether. This one, the speech, is from the movie Miracle. So this fixes the problems of stakes that's in Remember the Titans, right? In it that, they're both true stories. I think this one is maybe a little truer. I think Remember the Titans takes some liberties, but still, they are both true. And because this is true, it gives a lot of the impact. But it's not a high school team, not even the finals and everything like that in the middle of the game. This is before the Olympic game, where it's like in the middle of the Cold War, where the Americans are up against the Soviets. So that's like the big rivalry. It's hockey, and this is where all the kids are really young, because the NHL passed this rule where they're not going to let a lot of people play. But the Soviets are the big bad guys. They already kicked their ass once, and now they have to go in. And as Kurt Russell eloquently delivers, they might beat them, 9 times out of 10. I don't remember the statistic he uses actually, but they may beat them 99 times out of 100. But you just gotta beat them one time. I think it's 9 out of 10 that Kurt Russell says, and And it's just one night, and it's so slow and well paced and subtle until it like just builds up, and crescendos at the end with them all getting hyped and going out, rushing onto the ice. It's just fantastic, you know. I mean, because the moment is great too. The setup that they're doing really well. They're winning all these games, but just at the back of their mind, itching the whole time is these Russians, because they played the Russians earlier and they got their asses kicked, and now they got to play them for the finals. It's just itching at them the whole time, and they're just not confident, and the switch in the mindset, I think, is really impressive in this one as well. It's just that they're so down, they're so defeated before they even started the game, and Kurt Russell just totally flips it. The effect of the speech is incredibly impressive. Maybe I should have talked about the effect from some of these other ones, but I don't know. I'm looking at my list here, and I don't know if the effect was that great. Maybe just going back a few in Independence Day and Remember the Titans. The players were really defeated, and they got really hyped up. And then in Independence Day, I think everyone knew their shot. I don't know. I think we're going to talk about some few in a second that will definitely be the effect. So I'm going to have to talk about the effect of the speech a little bit more in the future. The delivery is fantastic. Kurt Russell is an amazing actor, and he crushes this as well. And this role as this coach here delivering this speech, it's just really impactful. Again, like I talked about, it checks a lot of these boxes. Sports is not going to get as high as some more, you know, violence, war, and such. But for a sports movie, man, this is so well delivered. This is the penultimate ranking here, so the second best movie speech of all time, and this movie speech comes from Lord of the Rings 3, Return of the King. So this speech that I am talking about, because I guess there's a few speeches in this speech is by Aragorn, right? So it's the speech right before they're going to invade the Black Gates. Because actually there are some good speeches in this as well, I think. Samwise is right at the end, going into Mount Doom, where I can carry you. I can't carry the ring, but I'll carry you. And in King Theoden's speech, he's kind of yelling a lot. But he does give a little bit of a speech to the Rohirrim before they cross to save Gondor, come to their rescue across Pelennor Fields there. But Aragorn's speech is the one that takes the cake. That's the one that I continue to remember. It's just so well done for everything, right? So again, they've already gone through the whole battle of Gondor, and by kind of the skin of their teeth, right? And Aragorn's come back. He wasn't really at Gondor the whole time, but he went to get the ghost army that had once forsaken Gondor, and he came in and he swept everyone out, and he won the day, and he really took on this role of king, because he's always been a king. That we've known he's the king for a long time, but he's finally the king, and he's coming back. So it's also cementing his legacy, cementing his role. It's so important, right? This is like the first thing he's done as actually being king. So I think that's a factor as well. The delivery is great. I mean, Viggo Mortensen is one of my favorite actors. He's not in a lot of movies, which I appreciate that he goes really selectively, but he does it so well. You know, he goes really up and down with his range and tone and everything. I think starting off really, really subtle and then building up into a crescendo, and then starting off and then going back down. And that's, I don't know if that's kind of in it, but it's very cinematic, but it's also strategic. You know, you got to be all crazy and hyped up to run into battle, but at the same time, you have to be level-headed. So, it brings him up and brings him back down to ready to go. And it's just so poetic. The way it's written is fantastic. It's poetic, and it brings a lot of things in that we know that has happened in the past, that we know is going to come in the future. A lot of these things that people are talking about, bringing together the two big nations here of Rohan and Gondor. So all the things that we've gone through in the past. I think the effect is definitely felt because as we're looking across into this all these people of the orcs. You know what, let me do the setup first. So the setup first is really great, and you know the setup and the effect I think go hand in hand, at least in this one, probably in most. So the setup is that they know what's going on, right? They're going to go in and they're going to probably die, and they're going to give Frodo as much time as they can to destroy the One Ring. And they're already tired from the Battle of Gondor, but they're going there. A lot of their friends and family are dead. They're going to the Black Gates, and they're kind of excited or whatever. They're kind of like, we can do this. And then they open up the Black Gates, and just so many people pour out. Just orcs and giant trolls and all this stuff pour out, and they surround them, and you get a pullback of the camera, and you can see how small the army of our heroes are compared to their opponents. And you start seeing the fear on a lot of these soldiers' faces. And then you see Aragorn, and he's just like, I know what I got to do, right? And he's cementing his legacy as king, his role as king. And he's going in to change the effect there, right? Because here coming in the effect where you see all their faces and they're scared, and then this lifts them up, and it specifically lifts up a lot of the people in their own side, right? The hobbits that are with them, Merry and Pippin, as well as Gandalf and Gimli. They're all getting pretty hyped up, but we see some other people as well. It's just so epic, really, when you think of a great pre-battle motivational speech. There's not too many better ones than this, but there's one that we're going to talk about in a sec. Okay, we have come to the end. This is the final one here that we have. So, the best movie speech of all time comes from the movie, and I bet a lot of people guessed it already, and I'm about to that a little bit, I don't know. It comes from the movie Braveheart. Did I do that right? Yeah, so Gladiator, it's a double feature here, but it's this one. It's the movie Braveheart. I bet a lot of people saw this coming. It just is. It just is the best speech of all time. I just don't think there's a lot of debating it. We could go into a lot of the nitty-gritty here, but you have to have seen it. If you haven't seen it, for the love of God, go watch it. But all the aspects that we've talked about, right? How it's written, how it's performed, how it's executed, the setup, the effect, the stakes, everything is there. I promise you, everything is there. I guess the stakes are a little less because it's only one of the first battles. But you know, if any one of these battles, if they lose any one of these battles, the Scottish rebellion against the English, it's kind of over in many aspects, I would think. But everything else more than makes up for it, I would say. You know, all the other ones are maxed out to 10. Mel Gibson kills it. I think the setup. You know, and the setup is so important, as we talked about in so many of these other ones. The setup is crucial. The setup in the one is fantastic because these other people that we don't really know who they are, these lame characters, are convincing everyone to just go home, right? And it looks like everything's lost, and the old guard is trying to keep everything together, but they can't, and then Mel Gibson just swoops in. And, I mean, you can literally, they do a very good job of literally showing you the facts. People are walking the other way before he starts his speech, and then people are turn around and going back to fight to do this battle. So you can very visibly see the effects of the speech. But it's just so good. Mel Gibson, he's riding around on his horse, which is kind of difficult, right? Because a lot of these other speeches are given, you know, when just standing, obviously. But he's on his horse. He's really on a horse. He's got to go back into it. There's a few moments where the horse is kind of going too much out of frame, and he has to like switch his whole body. It's hard. That's skill. That's acting skill. It could be a detriment. It could be distracting to a different movie, to a different speech, to a different speaker. But Mel Gibson handles it perfectly, executes it perfectly, and just delivers the best speech of all time. The face paint and the weapons and the time frame certainly helps. I don't got too much more for you. It's just the best in every sense of the word. The movie, the speech from Braveheart is the best speech, the best movie speech, absolutely, of all time. All right, let's wrap this up then. I gave you my top 10 best movie speeches of all time. Let me know if you disagree, please. I would love to hear some other ones. I'm sure there's some ones I haven't seen. I know of a few, but not too many. And maybe if you disagree with my definition of speech in some way, we could talk about that. I would be open to it, but I think my interpretation is probably correct. Obviously limited to mostly war movies and sports movies, but that's where speeches are coming in. This was fun. This was a long time coming. I think I teased that I was going to do this like even months ago now at this point, but I've gone a little off track with topics in general, but we're bringing them back here. I really enjoyed this, and watch out for some new ones because, we're definitely going to ramp this up a little bit more. But that is all from me for today. Signing off.